It rained a little bit today. Oh no. Hang on. Got it. Okay. Spring good, waiting for summer.
Yeah. I hear you. Well, I live in LA, so it's always summer.
Well.
It just gets so old when it's 70 degrees and sunny every day. Yeah.
I would love that. I was born and raised in a
That sounds so hard.
so I'm used to that.
Yeah, it's funny, like I know it might sound crazy, but you actually really do start to crave seasons a little bit. When it does rain here, you're like, yeah, rain. Cold rain. Okay, everybody, how are y'all doing? Everybody settled in here? So what I had a call earlier today with a client who's doing really great, and I'm sure you guys, I don't know what you guys all do for a living. Well, some of you I do know what you do for a living, but some of you I don't. But it's like whenever we have something that we're experts in, right? Like I would consider myself at this point an expert, and you guys do what you do, and you're experts too. There's a thing called shared language, and there's common language, right? So when you're an expert in something, you guys have this shared language, right? Like a lawyer, right? If you've ever read like a contract, it's like, what language is that? Well, that's lawyer talk, right? It's like a shared language with lawyers. And if they try to talk to regular people, it just goes out the window because it's not common language, it's shared language. And what I realized too now is sometimes I'll just make a lot of assumptions when we're talking nutrition, we're talking calories and proteins and macronutrient distributions and all these things. And I forget that that's actually shared language with professionals in the fitness space, but not always common language with everybody out there that can understand it easily. So what I figure we could do today is just talk plainly, and I'll do my best to try to explain calories, macronutrients, proteins, and like why the heck it matters, and what's important as far as like understanding like the actual nutrients of these food choices and like what they do in your body. Does that seem cool? You guys down with that? Yeah. Okay, first. Cool. So let's start with this. Show of hands. Does everyone know what macros means? Raise your hand. If you don't have your camera on, you can just do a little thumbs up emoji in your screen. Yeah, Chantal, I see a thumbs up emoji in Chantal's. Good. Okay, so most of you understand what macronutrients are, right? So we have calories, which is just like an aggregate of everything. And then within those calories, we have macronutrients, which are your proteins, your carbohydrates, and your fats. Cool? You guys all with me on that one, right? Now, when we look at macronutrient distributions, why the heck does that matter? Does it even matter? How far should we take it, right? Because we have to like constantly catch ourselves, because general population, people who have common language in general information, really struggle with wanting to be binary. Like I can't eat carbs, or I can't eat at night, or I have to do all these things. And so that's something that happens. That's like a symptom of people who don't understand a topic very well. It's good or it's bad, it's black or it's white, it's right or it's wrong, right? The more you understand something, the more nuanced it becomes, the more you realize, well, the answer is usually in the middle, some shade of gray typically. So when we talk about macros, although I believe in macros, right? As the owner of this company and as a person who's written extensively on this stuff, I follow macronutrient distributions. However, I also realize that following a macronutrient distribution can turn into another amalgamation of some sort of siloed dogma of a way of looking at nutrition. Well, but my macronutrients were 100 and then 100 and then 20, and I didn't do it perfectly, so I failed. And that's another form of perfectionism that can happen, even though macronutrient distributions, I feel like, is the superior way of looking at it, because really what it's doing is when you understand proteins, carbs, and fats, it sets you free. You understand, if I got to get 100 grams of carbohydrates today, and my only option is a Pop-Tart from a vending machine, you go, well, it's not a great choice, but it's 60 grams of carbohydrates, and it's the end of the day is coming near. I got to get 100. I don't want to be under, so I can do that. And it gives you permission to do things that maybe in the past you would have deemed as bad, not done, and then suffered the consequence of going to bed starving, being hangry, having low blood sugar, and not hitting your numbers, and then maybe that would have set you up for a self-sabotage in the future. So I think that when you understand your macronutrients, actually, it's teeing you up for the proper perspective around food that can really just create that sustainability and freedom. Now, with that being said, it can also be taken too far and turn into just another diet thing that people follow. So what I want to do now is I just want to break down, I guess, the order of importance of, like, when we're talking losing body fat, we're talking macronutrient distributions, why any of it matters, and how far you should take it. Okay. So we have, first and foremost, when we're like the basics of this stuff is, if you want, and you guys all know this, if you want to lose weight, newsflash, you got to eat less than your body burns off. Okay. Obviously, that's not rocket science. I think we can all agree about that, right? And this is, and by the way, I might follow some tangents here. But basically, we all can agree on that, right? Like, we all agree if you eat less than your body burns, you're going to lose weight. We all agree with that. Yet, how many people consistently do diets that have nothing to do with actual calorie intake or distribution? They'll do something like, well, I just do keto. Okay, well, what if your body burns 2,000 calories a day, but you're eating 3,000 calories in meat and fat? Do you think that there's something magical about keto? There's some magic power that somehow that surplus of 1,000 calories isn't going to just end up in your belly as belly fat? Like, no, there's nothing magic about keto other than it's simply just removing a third of your macronutrients, carbs. Keto is just fat and protein, right? That's all it is. So if you don't eat a third of your macronutrients, theoretically, you would eat a third less calories, which would then lead to weight loss, theoretically. Now, we'll also add, cholesterol and probably shave a dozen years off your life and make you look like Michael Jackson from Thriller, but it would potentially shave off a third of your calories. So in the short term, you might lose a little weight. However, what people find really quickly is that as you get comfortable eating only fats and proteins, and as your mind starts to obsess over fats and proteins, next thing you know, butters and everything, extra fatty meats, olive oil and everything, coconut oil and everything. And guess what? You are now built your calories back up over a surplus, and you're probably not going to lose weight very much longer. Intermittent fasting. Well, if I only eat in an 8-hour window, then I don't need to worry about calories because I do intermittent fasting. Well, what does intermittent fasting do? It cuts out breakfast, right? So potentially it's a third of your meals are gone now. Instead of eating 3 times a day, eat 2. So you're just eating a third less calories, just like keto was. But there's nothing magical about intermittent fasting. If I eat 3,000 calories in 8 hours and my body only burns off 2,000, well, then guess what? I'm storing fat, man. You know what I mean? So there's no magical power about any one of these diets. All they're designed to do is to get you to eat less food, right? So that's essentially it. So when you can get kind of through the noise and you see it for what it is, you realize that it doesn't matter what name your diet has. What they all have in common is that they are trying to get you to eat less food. That doesn't mean you can't sabotage it. So my thinking is, well, let's just make a little wormhole, a little shortcut to the end result here. And if the whole goal is to just eat less calories, let's understand calories. Let's understand macronutrients. Let's understand proteins, carbs, and fats, and then give you guys the autonomy to eat whenever you want, like whatever food choices you fancy, so you're not stuck in this like dogma of only eating like a third, or proteins and fats, but only eating in a narrow window. Okay, does that make sense, guys? So really what I'm trying to get to here is calories. Calories are king. They have been and always will be the number one factor when it comes to leaning out. Now, let's take it one level deeper than that. We got calories. We understand calories are important. However, we also have this thing called muscle tissue, muscle mass in us. And as we all get more lean, we want to look good, right? We don't just want to look like a deflated balloon when we lose our weight. We want to have some definition. We want to have some muscle tone. And so that's going to require us to do our best to preserve our muscle tissue as we're getting lean. Well, how do we do that? This is where macronutrients come into picture. If you just wanted to lose weight for the sake of losing weight, just pick a calorie target and don't go over it. You'll probably be just fine. You want to lose weight and look good after you lose weight? Well, we got to get a little bit more sophisticated now. So this is where we enter macronutrient distribution, specifically protein, okay? So proteins, what are proteins? What's all this talk about proteins? Why do I care about proteins? Proteins, carbohydrates, and fats all have a different role in our body. They do different things, okay? Protein's job is to build and maintain tissue, okay? Your skin, your eyes, your organs, your muscles, so on and so forth, your bones, right? It's all amino acids, and amino acids are simply just proteins in their final form, right? So everything that we're comprised of as biological creatures is a protein. Okay, so to build and maintain tissue requires protein. Got that? Fats are an energy source typically used for like hormone production, and a secondary energy source that can be converted and used as ketones. And there's a little bit more science behind that. We don't need to get into it all, but essentially fats are there to make sure that everything's functioning properly. We're getting proper amounts of cholesterol to our brain. We are producing hormones and all that good stuff. It can also be used as a secondary source of energy in the lack of carbohydrate, which brings us to carbs, which is our primary source of energy, okay? They can all kind of overlap a little bit, but they all have their own job: proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So carbohydrates are immediate glucose in our system. What's the difference between raw table sugar and quinoa? They're both carbohydrates. The only difference is the rate at which they absorb into your bloodstream, aka the glycemic index. Okay, so every carbohydrate is ranked on the glycemic index of how quickly it gets into your bloodstream. Okay, so when you look at it that way, there's nothing inherently good or bad about high glycemic carbohydrates like sugar or honey or whatever. It's just they pack a punch, they get in your bloodstream faster. That's really the only downside of it. But as sophisticated human beings who understand nutrition on a higher level, we know that it's very easy to consume carbohydrates at a very high rate if you're unconscious about how much you're consuming. But if you are tracking your food, which you all are, and you have, each one of you has your individual carbohydrate targets for the day, or at least calorie ceilings, then if you have to get those carbohydrates in somehow, some way that might not be ideal, you understand that it's not good or bad or right or wrong. It just simply is a choice you're making to get to a target. Now, would it be optimal for you to get your carbohydrates from brown rice and quinoa and beans and veggies? Probably. In a pinch, or just in a weekend where you just kind of feel like having a little dessert and you're an adult and you want to make your own damn life choices, and you decide that 50 grams of your carbohydrates are going to come from ice cream today, is that the end of the world? Hell no. In fact, I think that's the superior way of looking at things and the superior way of operating. So that way you don't get stuck in this binary thinking about what's good or what's bad. Make sense, guys? You guys all with me so far on this? Okay, cool. So that's why I feel macronutrients is great, because it gives us that ability, that flexibility. But okay, so that's fats, that's carbs. And I touched on protein for a second. And the reason why typically we're, as a company, as like a nutrition coaching company now, moving more towards just calorie and protein targets and kind of allowing you guys the autonomy to swing your fats and your carbs as you see fit. Because even though I would follow more of a protein, carbohydrate, and fat distribution number every day, and a bodybuilder might also do that. Not to say like I'm like that. I'm not a bodybuilder. I really don't care about that. But like, I realize that it's marginal. So in other words, what's most important is a calorie ceiling. Okay. What's now right below that is a protein target, because protein, as we described, it builds and maintains tissue. So as you lean out, as you get leaner, you want your muscle tissue there. If you just simply eat 1,400 calories and it's all carbohydrate and fats, you'll lose weight, but you're going to lose a lot of muscle too, right? Because protein's job is to build and maintain tissue. So we don't want that to happen, because you're going to lose all that weight. And you're going to be like, oh crap. Yeah. Now what? It's much better to preserve your muscle tissue by eating sufficient protein levels as you're dieting. Okay. So what's sufficient protein levels? Are these numbers just arbitrary? No, not at all. Right. So what we've found, we as in the collective we, is that protein synthesis, right? So you consume a protein, you can get proteins through shakes. There's proteins in veggies, there's in bread and carbs, and there's majority of proteins through like animal products, tofu. There's all kinds of sources you can get your protein from. I don't care what, by the way, as an aside, I don't really care what delivery mechanism you choose to insert proteins into your body. All I care is if you can hit your numbers or not. So people are like, whoa, but you know, studies show that whey protein isolate assimilates faster in the lower intestine. Yeah, cool. So, you know, but like, then again, if you're just doing like a vegetable-based protein, but you can do it every single day for the rest of your life, I think you'd be in pretty good shape, right? So there's marginal benefit to animal proteins. There's marginal benefit to protein isolate, whey, you know, but nothing matters more than consistency. And so whatever marginal benefit you can extract from, you know, fill in the blank protein source that's claiming to be better matters diddly squat if you are inconsistent with it, right? So you pick the protein sources that you like, animal, vegan, shakes, whatevs, and you just be consistent with it. Okay. That's really all that matters. So over time. So clinical trials, right, would point to 0.7 grams per pound of body weight in protein. So in other words, if you're 100 pounds, which would be very small, then if you eat 70 grams of protein a day, that's the threshold. That's the threshold where protein synthesis happens. So if you're 200 pounds like me, it's 150 grams is the threshold. Okay. That's when protein synthesis starts to happen. Protein synthesis is essentially when your body synthesizes, metamorphosizes. I don't know if that's actually happening, but it converts the protein you're eating into actual tissue, right? That's when the magic happens. Anything below that, there's genetic factors, of course, but anything below that, you're probably going to be fine, but you're just not going to quite have the muscle tone and strength and quality of your muscle tissue that you would if you could get it up closer to that 0.7 per pound threshold. Okay. So typically that's where we start, folks. It really depends. It's kind of a sliding scale. If a person is over 200 pounds, it's very difficult to all of a sudden have someone who is not tracking food at all to start eating 150 grams of protein. In that case, we might dip down lower to like 0.5 grams and just ease them into that and let them build their tolerance really on their appetite around protein up to that 0.7. If they're a smaller person, then it's a little bit easier to jump right to it. So it really just depends a lot, but that's like where we ultimately would like to get you guys to. somewhere between 0.7 and 0.1. Now, that's because of the science stuff around it and synthesization and all that fun stuff. Also, there's another benefit to kind of just making sure we're consistently hitting that protein target. And that's just feeling satisfied with your food, right? That's just like, I think it's satiety, one of the two. Anywho, doesn't matter. Point is that you feel more full because protein is a slow digesting food. So when we're dieting, which it's fair to say we're all dieting right now. When we're dieting, food choice is uber important. If you just drink protein shakes and eat fruit and you're on a diet, you're going to be freaking starving all the time because it's fast digesting food, right? Boom, in your body. And you're like, damn, I'm hungry. So if you eat slow digesting food, lean proteins, right? Oats, beans, starchy vegetables, that kind of stuff, quinoa, it takes a long time to digest and it's going to make you feel more full. So protein just tends to require, it's a much more complex nutrient. It takes a long time to break down. So first step, high protein right off the bat, get your stomach full with food. So it's a little distracting. So you're not sitting there just thinking about your growling tummy all the time. And so that's the method behind the madness. That's why we do what we do. And all that aside, the reason why, if you've noticed less lately, if you've been with me for a long time, I might have you on like a protein, carbohydrate, and fat regimen. But if you've been with us relatively recently, you might find that we're just only doing protein and calories. And that's to give you guys the leeway to fill in the gap with fats and carbohydrates, however you see fit, whatever makes sense for your life in that day. So if you're going to go to a steakhouse, have a nice juicy steak, that might be an opportunity for you to have higher fats and lower carbs, right? If it's a day where you want to order pizza or you want to have a little dessert, then that might be a day where you have higher carbs and lower fats. And so just a little bit more flexibility so you guys don't feel like you're doing something wrong if you don't hit your macros perfectly, right? So does that help? Does anybody have any questions around proteins, carbohydrates, and fats? Taylor, what about your daughter? Does she have any questions around protein? Does she have any questions around macronutrient distributions I can answer for her?
Not at this time.
I just show me to him.
Yeah, maybe at some point she will, but not right now.
Yeah, if she needs her macros, you come find me. I'll help her out. All right. So to sum it all up, guys, to conclude, calories are king. Think of it as like if you're at home and it's just an ordinary day and you have time, hit your macros, hit your proteins, carbs, and fats. It's a good exercise. Mm-hmm. Maybe if it's like, okay, it's the weekend and I would have dinner plans, then maybe just calories and protein is a good idea. You can leave fats and carbs to swing depending on the place you're going to, right? If you're on vacation, you don't have access to a kitchen and it's just like traveling stuff, then just go calories. Just hit the calories and don't worry about the macros. You'll be fine. So think of that if like the order of importance, right? Calories and protein, macronutrient distribution. Cool? That all makes sense, team? All right, guys, that's it. Thanks for jumping in and have a great weekend. But before I let you go, who's going to hit their macros this weekend? Who's going to just do calories and who's going to do calories and protein? One at a time. Alicia, what are we doing?
I'm going to hit my macros perfectly every day.
Oh, tough act to follow. Ken?
Got to do it. Hit them all.
So just a FYI, Ken and Alicia might be partners together. You're not married, are you? Boyfriend, girlfriend, life partners? Where are we?
7 years, we're stuck together forever.
Okay. Oh, Ken's like, sorry, dude, gotta go. That's his cell phone, actually. It's from 1999.
He's got his other wife on the line.
No, baby, I'll be back later tonight. Taylor, what are we gonna do?
I'm gonna try for my macros, but we're doing Easter this weekend, so if I can keep it to my calorie and my protein on Sunday, I'll be happy with myself.
Fair enough. So maybe Saturday all macros, and then Sunday we just do calories and protein, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So get the proteins in first. Don't think you're gonna get to it later, right? So don't have good intentions of getting all your protein in the second half of the day, knowing that you're gonna have the dinner and stuff. Just get the proteins in the first half of the day.
Oh, we're doing brunch.
Oh,
It'll be perfect.
okay. Well, then so don't think you're getting the proteins in the first half of the day or in the second half of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Denise, what we doing, baby?
Definitely my macros.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's easy because I live alone. So
It does make it easy.
yes.
And it's harder. It is really hard. It's not really hard. It's just harder for sure.
Challenging.
Yeah. Just like try having all these little people running around you like this. Yeah. Okay, team. Good stuff. Let's crush it. Let's have that weekend challenge where we weigh in lighter on Monday. All right. I'll see you. Bye-bye. Have a good one.
Thank you.